to the third and the last segment of this health insurance podcast. The last two segments have been amazing, and if you haven't watched it till now, I would really insist that you go watch those two segments because this will really help you understand the third one. But even if you haven't watched the first two, I think this third one will still add value, especially if you're someone who already has health insurance and someone in your family claims them from time to time for certain diseases they might have. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This is the last podcast of this season, and we cannot thank you enough for being with us for so long, and with all the subscribers who subscribe, for all the viewers who have viewed, for all the people who've commented. We love you, and we thank you for all the love that you've showered on us, and we hope to continue this in season 2. But now getting back to health insurance segment 3, and Gaurav, welcome back to the third segment.
Thanks,
and this
Anand, for having
podcast
me.
will get a little intense because we'll get into the very details.
Yeah.
So Gaurav, I know this podcast gets a little intense now because we spoke about the very basics in the first segment. In the second segment, we spoke about a little more. Now, this third segment, like I want to, delve in really deep. For there's so many people whose claims get rejected. Like, there are things of fraud and, mental health and pregnancies. There's so many things I'm going to cover. My first question, in the tune of what I just said, would be what are the common reasons for health insurance claim rejections and how do you avoid them?
So, Anand, one of the major reasons for claims getting rejected from the experience that I have is misdeclarations. So, when you buy a policy, you declare what your current health status is, right? And that is where people make the mistake of hiding some facts. You should never hide anything because a lie cannot stay for a very long time. It'll come out in the open, and either your doctor or you put it out in the open, and that gives the company the right to reject your claim. So it can be as common as misdeclaring something like lifestyle ailments, hypertension, diabetes, asthma, thyroid, so on, or a surgery that you've gone through. If you don't declare it, it counts as a misdeclaration. That is a huge problem. You may think it's a very small surgery, so it doesn't matter. It matters. Every surgery matters. All right. And the last thing that, a lot of people take too casually, I feel, is the misdeclaration when it comes to alcohol declarations or smoking declarations or chewing tobacco declarations. It's something that if you do, you should declare exactly the much you're doing, because later on, if you get a disease where you had any of these and it was the main reason for that, you would not get that claim because you had not declared it earlier. All right. So, and it's not something that you can suppress that fact with your doctor. Your doctor will write it down, and like I told you, with Abha and so many different methods that are coming where the transparency between all the companies are evident. Okay. All the data is shared, whether you declare it in one company and you didn't in the other company will know because everything is out in the open now. So please make sure that you declare everything. If you don't, that is the main reason why your claims are getting rejected. I'll give you an example. I talked about alcohol, smoking, chewing tobacco. It would surprise you that one of the main reasons or one of the main ways insurance company find that you have been doing it and not declared it is through your social media. Could you believe that?
Social media?
Yeah. So, for example, you've been a smoker for some time and you've not declared it in your policy. All a person has to do is go on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, and look at your pictures. If your pictures are there in bars where you have a cigarette in your hand or your cigarette to your mouth, that's the easiest way. It's that simple.
I would like to invite all the insurance companies to please watch my social media accounts because they'll only find things against it. But anyway, go on.
So, and it's something that you don't think about. It doesn't cross your mind that your insurance could have a correlationship with your social media, but it can. And that's how people are finding it so easy. Social media analysis is one of the biggest ways that insurance companies today are rejecting claims.
Just a little bit off topic. I have to tell you this interesting fact, and to all the viewers who are listening, social media is also now checked for bank loans.
Yes.
They actually check your following and that how much engagement you have on social media, because it's like for a form of safety and security, that if you have a social media account which has, say, a certain number of followers and you have a certain number of engagement in your account, then you are considered safe. It is only factored in as 2 to 3% of your entire CIBIL thing, but it's still coming up, which is insane. So that was just off topic, but coming
That's
back
very interesting
to
though.
But just coming back to this health insurance thing, you just said that these misdeclaration is the main reason for any form of claim rejections in health insurance.
Right.
So, when you were speaking about claim rejections and you just spoke about, how people misdeclare, like, are there other reasons why? Because I just want to bring in this topic into a more deeper level, because like I've had my mom and dad use insurance so many times. And there are certain things which are not acceptable in insurance. Do you count that as claim rejections as well?
So like I said, misdeclarations are the top reason why. But the other reason why claims are rejected is because the insured, which is the person who buys the policy, and his or her doctor are unable to give the reason for hospitalization. Please understand, in an insurance policy, an insurer or the insurance company has the right to know why you needed to get hospitalized. And it is your duty, or the policyholder's duty, and their doctor to prove the need for hospitalization. Okay. Only that is where the segment 2 part where we talked about proximity clause comes into place, So if you cannot prove that the hospitalization was needed, insurance company will never pay your claim. So I'll give you an example. I have 105 fever for 4 or 5 days. I feel, not my doctor. My doctor is probably telling me that please Calpol khalo, things will be better. All right. But I feel that if I get hospitalized, I'll get better care. Right. So I go to the hospital, stay for 1 or 2 days, and I get better, obviously, because they give me higher concentrated paracetamols and then send me back home. Right. That's the line of treatment. The line of treatment is very important. So during the hospitalization, you have a RM. Okay. So they tell you that regional medical officer. So the officer tells you that we have only given you oral medicines or medicines through, let's say, IV drips, but they were all paracetamols. They were all antibiotics, or they were saline probably only. And your fever reduced in 1 or 2 days. That could have been done at home. Where is the need for hospitalization? Please understand, if you fall sick and if you only have fever, it doesn't require hospitalization. You should have gone to another doctor. You should have taken another opinion. All you need to do is prove the need for hospitalization and make sure all your declarations are in order. If you do both of these, your claims, 98% of your claims will get through. You will never have a problem. So,
but I'm just thinking out loud. Say if I'm a patient, doesn't feel factor come into account? Like, because my doctor will write it in the prescription that he needs hospitalization because, of course, the doctor stands to gain commercially. But won't the doctor write that, he needs hospitalization, and wouldn't that be proof enough that the doctor asked me to hospitalize because he was not being able to control my fever? I'm just thinking out loud.
It's a valid question, no doubt. It's a valid question. In certain cases like this, the insurance company actually gives you the benefit of the doubt and tells you to present an etiology from the doctor. And etiology is a statement where the doctor states how the patient came to me, in what condition, what were the treatment provided that I gave to the patient, and then did he get better or did he not? And then I released him. So the etiology states everything. And if the etiology is strong enough, on just the basis of the etiology, the insurance company will pass the claim. But most doctors are either not providing the etiology altogether because they know that there was no need for hospitalization, or if the etiology is even there, the etiology does not read correctly in medical legal terms to pay that claim.
Right.
So as a doctor, the people who are paying claims in insurance companies are also doctors. So they know what medical legal means, and they know if there was a need for hospitalization or not. So that's one of the reasons.
So now I want to get into my next question, because we talked about how medical claims get rejected. I want to talk about fraudulent claims in health insurance, right? Because I would assume that so many people in India misdeclare what they're doing, and they try to fraudulently whether it's a genuine case or whether it's not a genuine case and they just want money. Like, I wanted to understand, in India, how many fraudulent cases do you see, and what is the success rate of people getting money?
So with fraudulent claims is a very big struggle for most insurance companies, and it's one of the primary reason why genuine claims get rejected, because every claim has some red flags, which other people are falling. Other people have done fraudulent claims, and those triggered those red flags. And a genuine person suffers because they just probably because of one statement from the doctor or one wrong document, there was one red flag that was triggered. Okay, so it's very prevalent in India. Fraudulent claims are rapid. It happens quite so often. There are some geographical locations in India where it happens more often. I don't want to name such places. It wouldn't be right to me, because some viewers may take offense. So I don't want to do that. But there are some parts of India where it is more prevalent than others. And the main way that they commit such frauds is there was no hospitalization. There was no patient. It was all cooped up. It was all made up. All right. So there was the hospital is involved, the doctor is involved, and some other person is involved who has an insurance policy. And all they do is make fake papers, make fake bills, and make fake everything and present it to the insurance company. And I won't say it happens more now. Insurance companies don't fall for such traps so easily nowadays, but they used to quite so often. That is why these fraud detections were made. And they still get fooled sometimes. So now one of the methods used by insurance companies to prevent such frauds, are, let's say I'm getting hospitalized, all right? And I'm actually not getting hospitalized and just put up a fake bill, fake prescriptions and everything like that. And I try to claim, right? So they send a surveyor to the hospital and they check your phone history, your phone location history to be precise. And they see if the patient was actually there first. Let's say you say the patient does not have a phone. Good. I'll check their relatives or the people who are there in the hospital who at least went for the bill or whatever. So they will check their phones and see if they actually went to the hospital, how long they were there in the hospital. All of those location data are one of the methods that insurance companies are fighting such frauds. So, like I said, they have multiple tools in their agenda to try and deny such claims, and they ever should. But the worst part about fraudulent claims in India are that the genuine claims get the brunt of it.
And let's ask, if all genuine health claims fail after trying everything, what is the solution? If someone has a genuine case, I'm saying.
Right. So
with no misdeclaration, sorry.
So if you have a genuine claim, IRDA itself has a grievance cell which you can utilize. So in case if your claims are rejected and you feel that they were payable, please note that most people never take the grievance methods. That's the biggest flaw of India, because policyholders are not going to grievance cells. I think that you have multiple ways in which you can address your rejected claim. The first of them is insurance ombudsman. There are multiple insurance ombudsmans in India, in multiple cities. And you can obviously go to your nearest insurance ombudsman, put up a claim. IRDA has a grievance cell website where you can use and file your claim. and insurance ombudsman will have a hearing where only the policyholder is allowed. The agent is not allowed. A legal representative is not allowed. You will fight your claim on your own. Okay, you can take the help and you can do your homework with your legal person or your agent, but you have to fight your own case. So policyholder and the insurance company's representative, along with the insurance ombudsman executive, sits and has the discussion, comes to a finalization whether the claim should be paid or not. And if, let's say, you fail in insurance ombudsman too, you have then consumer forum to go to. And even if you fail in consumer forum, please let me tell you that you have other methods. There's this brilliant startup from Noida, which is Insurance Samadhan. I'm lucky to be a part of their team in Calcutta. But Insurance Samadhan is an insurtech startup which is solely working with rejected claims, delayed claims, claims that have been partially paid and half the money is still left, or even if you've been missold a policy and you lost your premium and you don't have the means, they will fight for getting the premium back from the insurance company because you were missold by, let's say, a bank or an insurance agent even. So Insurance Samadhan is another way. So how it works is very simple, Anant, is that you have a rejected claim, you give it to Insurance Samadhan, you submit all the documents to them. They will study your case and come back to you within a few days. And one of two things will happen. Either they will tell you that we are sorry, we do not take your case. Hence, you've not lost anything, but you get to know that the experts in the field have told you no. So please don't try to fight it further. But if they tell you yes, you don't pay up anything upfront. They fight for your entire case. They get you the money in your bank. And only after you get the money in the bank, then they will charge you their fee, which is 12% plus GST. And yes, you may say that why should I give them 12% plus GST? But they have means to take that money from you. So don't try and deny their money. They've worked very hard to get you your 88% or 85% back. So it's a very good method to get your claims
fair
back.
enough. If you're not getting anything, I mean, even getting 80-85% is a lot.
It's a lot.
And plus, these startups are working really hard. I agree with you. I mean, in that sense, like, completely.
Right.
But, this is something that I got from my audience and something that kept cropping up when I asked them in my community, like, what is a question they would want to ask for health insurance? And something very unique came up. And that was, is are mental illnesses covered in insurance or mental health in general?
So, IRDAI introduced the Mental Health Act into the Insurance Act. So both of the acts were revised, Mental Health Act as well as the Insurance Act were revised to include mental health since 2015. So if you have a policy, an existing policy, and you have a mental health issue, whether it's depression or any other sort of mental health issue, it is covered by default. You cannot be denied. But let's say the problem lies here that it's not foolproof yet. The problem is, let's say I have depression and I want to buy a new policy and I declare depression. Nobody would want to take your policy. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. There might be a company out there and there's too many nowadays. So the insurance scape is increasing and there are new companies every year. There might be a company who's ready to take a person who has depression or any other mental illness, but most companies will deny. So if you have bought a policy, that is why you should buy a policy early on. When you're a baby, your parents should add you to a policy when you're 91 days old.
Right.
So if you're young and you're already part of a policy, they cannot deny your claim anytime if you might come with even the scariest of mental illnesses.
But what about the serious ones? Like, depression is still subjective.
Yeah.
Like, I might say that, listen, I have anxiety in general, or I take a bit of clonazepam every now and then, or, I have a general depression, I become very sad.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very mild thing in mental illnesses. Like, what I mean is like schizophrenia or Alzheimer's or dementia.
All of them are covered. As long as you are already in the policy and the policy has been ongoing for some time meaning 2 years minimum, you're covered.
You're covered. Okay. Because I got a very interesting question from one of my other viewers. who really pushed me to ask you this. And that is, are pregnancies covered in insurance? Because, pregnancy is something that you plan, right? It's not something that, usually, especially if you're taking insurance for pregnancies, that's something you'll plan.
Mhm.
So, would a health insurance company accept a pregnancy claim and reimburse that?
So most companies today have a built-in cover for pregnancy. The problem is the Indian health insurance sector is not very fond. The insurance companies are not very fond of pregnancy claims. So if you look at most policies in India, and I mean most policies in India, they give you very partial cover for pregnancy, okay, which is a very big downfall for new couples, for newly married people. The issue is it's so minuscule, the coverage, that it doesn't make sense. For example, for natural birth, it's 30,000. The average of the industry is like 30,000, 40,000. And for C-section, it's around about 55,000 to 60,000, which is too low. Even natural birth nowadays, in a double sharing room in a tier 1 or a tier 2 city, in fact, is going to cost you more than 40,000 bucks. So you end up paying a lot from your own pocket. And for C-section, let's say not even go there, because that's like double, triple, depending on. So Bhagirathi Neonatal in Calcutta, the lowest package available is around about 2.5 lakh rupees.
Some of my friends who had taken these pregnancy policies, they got a 80% cover, I think.
Yeah, so there, like I was just going to tell you that it's grim situation for most policies with pregnancy cover, but then there are certain policies which are providing even 100% cover. Okay. I'm not saying it's not out there, but those policies are rare. There are very few policies, like Reliance has a policy, which is Infinity, which has pregnancy cover. But again, it has a clause for up to 2 lakh rupees, which is still better than having 30,000.
Yeah.
And then there are other policies also available, like SBI. In fact, SBI General has a very good top-up, again, not super top-up, but a top-up policy with a 1 lakh rupee deductible, 10 lakh rupees sum insured that you can buy. And it only costs you like 4,000-5,000 rupees to buy. So even let's say, if it's a 3.5 lakh rupee claim that you end up having, so with 1 lakh deductible, you still get 2.5 lakhs.
Amount. Like if I'm going for a super top premium 5 lakh package, I would end up paying only 1 lakh.
Right. So it's okay. There are solutions. They are not widespread, but there are solutions, but they are not great. None of them are superb.
But this is something that a lot of young couples ask for. So I would really insist if you can give me some of those links of those policies through your website or whatever way. I would love to put them in the link down below.
I'll share
because
them
there's so many couples who are planning to have a baby, and if they can get this Reliance or SBI policy, I think it would be great.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think those are resources where they can at least read about them.
Yeah.
Again, this is one question which I had personally, and I think I've meant to ask this for a very long time in my life, is that I'm someone who's hypochondriac, almost like every second if anything happens to me, I just live in a medical world and I see so many autoimmune diseases, cancers, and I'm so scared, and I feel like, what if I get something and I want the best treatment in the world, right? And that's where my next question comes from, is that can I buy policy which gives me health insurance cover for the world? Like, even if I want to get my treatment done in New York, or if I want to get my treatment done in Johns Hopkins or, London, wherever in the world, and like a good amount, is that possible? And then is the insurance premium too high?
So yeah, global policies are now quite easily available in most good companies. I would say policies are of two types. There are global coverages that cover certain diseases only. So they have a list of diseases. For example, Aditya Birla and Reliance have a policy where you can buy either 16 ailments or 18 ailments, but they're statistically, the list is statistically made. So they actually did the research and found that there are certain diseases for which people travel abroad. If you have a broken leg, you wouldn't go to London just to get a cast on, right? So they did their research. They found out all the critical illnesses for which people travel abroad. So there would be, for example, like you said, autoimmune diseases or nervous disorders or cancer or brain surgery or heart related issues, angioplasties and stuff. So for those, if you're traveling for those, they have these set of diseases for which you can travel, take a global policy. With both these examples, Reliance as well as Aditya Birla, they have something unique, okay, which other global policies are not providing, which is they also cover the cost for the to and fro travel, air travel that you have, okay, and not just for the policyholder plus companion plus a donor. If you're taking an organ donor with you, they cover the cost of the two-way fare, but the fare is generally for economy class, all right, and not business class. This is not a luxurious trip that you're doing, okay? So this is for medical treatment. So they give you up to economy class. Reliance has the option where you can take economy class and they can pay for,
they can minus the
amount and give you the difference back. So, so I think you're so mentally, peace. So you're so much in, sorry, I'm forgetting the word again. Mental peace. So you have such a good mental peace with knowing that your airfare is covered. Plus, they pay you for 181 days of accommodation in wherever you're staying. So your hotel is also covered. It's a 3-star hotel. There are clauses, so you figure out the clauses. Like Aditya Birla has a 3-star hotel. Reliance has some other
options as well.
So your hotel is also covered. So you don't have to worry about flights. You don't have to worry about your stay. Plus, you get cashless treatment all over the world.
But how high is the insurance premium?
So there are, for example, Aditya Birla has 2 sum insures available. It's 3 crores and 6 crores available. You'd be shocked, according to me, how inexpensive they are. So if you're a person who's 45 and below, you're paying less than 30,000 rupees for a 6 crore rupees coverage.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. And if you're above 45, you end up starting to, because the premiums increase after every 5 years. So you start paying higher premiums, but you keep forgetting that the sum insured is 6 crores.
Right.
Which is equivalent to about 5 lakh USDs, which is 5 lakh USD is a very good coverage to me. So, and Reliance has the option to go up till 10 crores.
Wow.
So, according to premiums are not high, even if it goes up to 1 lakh, 6 crores, 1 lakh. It's less than 1% of your entire sum insured.
I'm going to put the links of these 2 policies also for the viewers who are seeing this, because I think it's a super policy, because I'm paying 30,000 for a national policy. I would rather pay 30,000 for a global coverage. Absolutely. Because I work in the cancer research industry, and this is something that hits me so hard, because I always see cancer people around me, and I feel that cancer is increasing at such an alarming rate. Like, do you think taking a separate cancer policy also makes sense along with your health insurance?
So that's a very interesting question, actually, which will bring out debate about what type of policies do you own. So I'll just tell you briefly that most of the policies we are talking about today, so far that we've talked about, are called indemnity policies. Indemnity policies are policies in which whatever the cost of the hospitalization was or the treatment was, you present the bills and they pay you exactly that, or lesser if they have to cut some cost, deductibles or whatever. So with what you just asked, you're actually asking for something called a benefit policy. So cancer is already covered in your indemnity policy. You can avail all the hospital costs for cancer, even after your main surgery. If you have chemotherapy or other things or biopsy, whatever it is covered under your indemnity policy. But what you're actually asking me is called a benefit policy. A benefit policy, unlike indemnity, is if you come in contact with certain ailments, certain critical illnesses, you can take such policies, and once you have that ailment, the insurance company pays you the sum insured and the policy closes. For example, you've bought a critical illness policy which has cancer in it, all right? And you've come in touch with cancer, right? If you survive, there's a survivability clause, 7 days, 10 days, depending on the policy. If you survive up to that day, after that you can put in your claim, and within a month or so, you will get, let's say 25 lakh rupees. If your sum insured was 25, you get the entire 25 lakh rupees in your bank. What you do with that money, the
Is up to
insurance
you.
company does not ask you. Whether you use it for hospitalization, you use it for your business interruption costs, you use it for your home to get a nanny, because you can't work anymore. What about those costs? People forget that when you have cancer, you can't work. If you're the breadwinner, you're not working anymore. You have liabilities, you have loans, you have this, you have that, you have costs for your children's education. There's so many expenses you haven't thought about.
But what you just said, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you, but what you just said is only applied for benefit policy and not for the indemnification policy.
So the indemnity is already paid for your hospital expenses.
All right.
So the benefit policies are for everything else. Your
right.
main
So if
cost
I
is
take
done.
my main policy plus a benefit policy for, say, cancer, all types of cancers, there I can basically, if I do a sum assured of 2 crores or 3 crores, if I'm detected with cancer, they will pay me within a certain time frame the whole 3 crores or 2 crores in my bank account.
Yes. So
Okay.
how you utilize that money is up to you.
Right.
And not just cancer. Now, cancer is one of their policies made only for cancer. And then now they have critical illness policies which cover far more diseases. For example, again, I have to come back to either Bajaj Alliance or Aditya Birla or HDFC Ergo or so many other companies who have multiple ailments. HDFC Ergo has a 30 illnesses policy. There are 30 categorized illnesses including cancer that are all covered for, and they're all critical illnesses. And likewise, there are up to 65 ailments in Aditya Birla. Bajaj has a very unique policy. I have to tell you about Bajaj's policy. It's so unique. Bajaj Alliance has a policy, critical illness policy, in which there are sections. So heart is a section, cancer is a section, so on and so forth. There are 5 sections. So if you come in contact with, let's say, heart ailment, they first pay you whatever the sum insured for the heart section was. And that section is closed down for you. You can't get more payment for that. But 4 sections are still open. So if you then come in contact with cancer, you again get paid. And then the policy closes. So it's up to 2 critical illnesses. So very unique policy, very low cost. According to me, whatever they're offering, the amount that they're offering, the features that they're offering, the cost is not that much.
Right.
And it depends on your mindset. Every premium is on your mindset. If you want to live without the stress of what will happen, what uncertainties lie in my life, and you don't want to have all this stress with your life, you can live a stress-free life by just transferring that risk to an insurance company.
Right. No, that's a very good thing to know, because you just started making me think about the cancer policy, and it's such a, especially the Bajaj one, if you have sections, because more often than not, when you have cancer, you also have another critical illness also. So I think that's a very super policy to know about, which we will put it on the link. But sorry, which we will put on the link. But as we close this third segment, Gaurav, I mean, something that has always been around in my mind is that in a utopian world, do you think health insurance can be made free in India, paid by the government, say?
It's something that you can always strive for. I mean, it would be a very good healthcare system, and the government would have to really take strides to do that. But yeah, you're right. It would be a utopian world, and it would be very apt because you'd get good healthcare treatment. If, let's say, every citizen of India contributed a very small amount, the corpus that we would get would be far
Huge.
Superior, and the infrastructure for healthcare could be developed.
Right.
So if the government takes that initiative, it would be very good.
Right.
There are countries who have done this, countries abroad who have done this and changed their outlook towards healthcare altogether, and citizens have benefited. So I think it's something that we can look forward to. We can start questioning people. We can ask. We can. We'd have to show our interest first.
Maybe someday.
I think the citizens need to show that they want something like this first. Yeah.
But Gaurav, thank you so much. Thank you for staying with us for 3 podcast segments. And this is the longest that we've gone so far. You've been wonderful and you've given so much information. I hope I can remember to put all the links in our description below for the viewers. And thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you so much, Anand, for having me. It was a pleasure. And I'm so happy that I close off this season for you. And all the best for season 2.
Thank you. So, guys, this is the last episode officially of our season 1. But don't be disheartened. We have a very fun episode for you next week, where we will give you the best clips of all our podcasts, of all our guests, of all our bloopers that we've done so far. That is something that you'll have a lot of fun watching. And we'll return soon with season 2 with bigger and better and, a lot of good guests. For you to enjoy. Thank you so much for all the love that you've shown us. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the views again. And we love you. Good night. Now, before we end, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Decode Age. Decode Age is India's first longevity research company aiming to increase the health span of people. The supplements and tests are based on the latest scientific breakthroughs in the field of longevity and aging sciences. The supplements they provide target the biological mechanisms that cause aging. For example, as we age, the NAD+ levels in our body decline, leading to mitochondrial dysfunction and genomic instability. Two main reasons for biological aging. Now, by supplementing with Decode Age's NMN, one can replenish the NAD levels in the body and tackle aging at a cellular level. Now, there are numerous clinical trials and experiments indicating that NMN increases the health span of individuals who consume it. I take it myself and it feels great. Apart from NMN, Decode Age offers other longevity supplements like spermidine, AKG, Fisetin, and transresveratrol. If you want to start your healthy aging journey, then Decode Age is the place to be. Do visit decodeage.com and use my coupon code ANANT to get a discount.